Welcome to Basic Brewing Radio for Thursday, December 12th, 2024. I'm James Spencer. Here at Basic Brewing Radio, we're all about home brewing. This week, homebrewer Scott Housel shares a series of beers he brewed using grape must from a wine kit as an ingredient. Adam Ross of Twin Span Brewing helps me to sample some surprisingly tart and delicious grapey beers. If you want to support us financially, check out patreon.com/basicbrewing, and many thanks to everybody who was helping out in that way. If you go to patreon.com/basicbrewing, you can see a long list of stuff that you can access if you sign up as a supporter. And many thanks to the new Patreon subscribers who are signing up every week. Your help is very much appreciated. If you use Patreon on your iPhone through the Patreon app and want to sign up for a new subscription to a podcast, let's say ours, for example, start that new subscription on the patreon.com website to avoid Apple taking a big chunk of the proceeds. And if you look on the Patreon iPhone app, the subscription levels are more expensive to support this show than if you go directly to patreon.com, and that's to compensate for the loss of income from Apple, or Apple's not having a loss of income. Anyway, financial subscribers have already seen the video episode that I'm planning to post on Friday. It's the one about my simple Pilsner that I brewed to act as a starter for my big, dark world beer that turned out to be more than 13% ABV. That Pilsner is a deliciously drinkable beer. It's getting better with time as it spends more time in the keg. On Friday, Steve Wilkes and I are planning to get together to record the annual Disaster Show. We pushed it back a day. We're going to record on Friday the 13th. We got a bunch of really good letters this year, stories from listeners around the world about their brewing gone wrong, sometimes with happy endings and some without. If you're hearing this before Friday, you still have a little time to send yours in if you're like me and like to wait until the last minute to do things. I've sent 2 bottles of my hoppy Belgian Golden Ale to Chris Colby to sample on the show. I'm asking Chris to help me formulate the recipe for my Mash Your Luck Challenge that you heard last week. I have a good idea for that one. No spoilers, but I think it's going to be fun. I brewed that Belgian Golden with the seasonal limited edition yeast B45 Gnome from our friends and sponsors at Imperial Yeast. I did make a starter for that beer, but only because the shipping company kept it for 4 days longer than I expected. But those 200 billion cells in that easy-to-open package of Imperial Yeast went right to work on that 1-liter starter, and it reached terminal gravity in just a few hours. So apparently it wasn't warm enough to do any harm. And Gnome is very flocculent, so it began to clear pretty quickly. B45 Gnome offers remarkable clarity, classic Belgian flavor profiles, high flocculation, and versatility for Belgian styles from light and hoppy to dark and malty. It was the perfect choice for my hoppy, strong Belgian Golden. My beer turned out to have a very nice clove note that pairs well with the Nectaron and Idaho 7 hops that I use for dry hopping. The day after I pitched my beer, I had to take the airlock off because the foam was coming out of the top of the bucket. This time I did catch it before it blew, so that's a good thing. Casey at Imperial sent me 2 packets of Gnome, so I'm planning to share my second one with Steve. Ask your local homebrew shop about B45 Gnome, and check out all the dependable deliciousness at imperialyeast.com. That's imperialyeast.com. Okay, I've been looking forward to tasting what Scott brewed with his bonus wine kit for a long time. It was a kit that arrived unsolicited to his front door, and instead of making wine out of it, Scott brewed up some delicious hybrid beers. Scott Housel, welcome back to Basic Brewing Radio.
Thanks for having me back, James.
This is all about you today. This is your little project, but we've got somebody else in here to help us evaluate it. Adam Ross from Twin Span Brewing up in Bettendorf, Iowa. Welcome back.
Yeah, I never actually left your show, James. I've still been here since.
The room has been open this whole time. It does seem like just a couple of days ago that we were together tasting Twin Span beers, which were delicious. And we did, if you haven't heard last week's show, we did a masher luck where I did, what was it? My parameters were low ABV, low bitterness, brown, sour, and German. And I think I had a brain spark, or whatever you want to call it, an epiphany. Is that it? I was texting with Chris Colby because I want to get together with him on formulating the recipe. I think we've got an idea. I think it's a darn clever idea for that beer, but I'm not going to say anything about it now. I'm not going to do spoilers. Anyway, I haven't had anything to drink already. I'm going down a sidetrack. So why are we here today, Scott? What are we doing?
Well, we're going to talk about some grape ales that came about from a package that I got in July that included a wine kit that I did not order. And I was tired of contacting the company and sending things back to them. So I just kept it and I kept my mouth shut. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. When life gives you free wine kits, you make great beer.
Yeah, of course.
I had that poster when I was in junior high. I can't. Did we help you?
Yes.
We talked about it on the show. I can't remember what advice we gave or if we were helpful at all.
Yeah, I think it was August 8th, if I remember.
You kept the receipts.
And we did talk about it. You were looking for a triple as an idea.
Oh, yeah.
And Adam was talking about a single. And then Austin was on the show. And when we got to hops, he said Strata. So that was the first thing that came out of his mouth. So I went with Strata. And I ended up fermenting this with, I did a Belgian yeast, thinking of the triple idea.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did London Ale, the dry yeast, London Ale. And then I did a Philly Sour because I wanted to see what would happen with that.
Ooh.
And yeah.
So the theory with the Belgian, if I could dust off the cobwebs of my mind, was that grapes are sugar and Belgian beers have sugar in them, and so therefore, and it was white wine kit, right?
Yes, it was a Chilean Sauvignon Blanc.
Okay, so that makes sense. It's all coming back to me now.
Yeah.
He lied.
Oh yeah, Austin and I were pushing for thiolized yeast to really lean into the Sauv Blanc.
I thought you were kind of warning me away from it when you said the word armpit. That's what I wrote in my notes was, it's like, I'm not going to try it this time.
One man's armpit is another man's treasure, maybe? I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't been drinking yet either, I swear.
I had that poster too.
And also, Scott, remind me, did I ever send you, we used to make a grape ale. It wasn't nearly to the level of grapes that you've mentioned you've used here, but I know James has had it. I don't know if I sent it to you. If I haven't, I'll have to brew it again, I guess, at some point and send it to you. But we used to do I never called it a brute IPA, but it was a brute IPA because brute IPAs don't sell. But it was 4% of the fermentables, so very low, was grape. But it was enough that I could talk myself into saying I could taste it, and it helped try things out.
Wow, you have not sent it to me, but I would love to try it. Absolutely.
I guess I got to get going on it.
I guess.
Special order. You'll get 9 barrels worth of grape wine, a grape beer in the mail. You got to sign for this, buddy. So how did you figure out the balance of fermentables, and what did you land on?
It was a lot of guesswork at the beginning because the must didn't really give me any information. So it was kind of like mix until you reach a certain gravity with about 6 gallons of water. So I just tried to figure out what I could beforehand. And then, because I didn't want to open it up until brew day.
Mm-hmm.
But what I ended up with was, and I misspoke on the last show, it's actually 76% of the fermentables come from beer ingredients and 24% from the wine must.
Oh, okay.
So, so after the boil, I was at 1060. And then once I added the wine must to the 3 different fermenters, I got to 1079.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, and it was just Pilsner malt is all I used. And I used about 20 IBUs of Strata at 10 minutes from the end of the boil.
Oh, and that's the only bittering that you did?
Yeah, it was, what were the alphas were 18.8. Wait, is that right? No, 12% alpha acids. So I calculated how to get about 20 IBUs, and that's what I hit.
Nice.
Yeah, and a little bit of gypsum and some lactic acid, just to get my pH for the mash was about 5.2.
Any yeast nutrients?
Yes, I used Fermaid K. Adam said I should be careful and put some extra nutrients in there for the grape.
Yeah, better safe than sorry.
Exactly. Yeah, and so brew day was October 5th. I can talk about my failure first, which was the Belgian yeast. Which was done in about 3 days. It went right up to about 80 degrees and then was finished, and so much sulfur.
Oh.
I was going to send you guys little samples, but I figured you didn't need to know what pure sulfur tastes like. So I'm just going to let that one sit for a little while. I'm not going to dump it yet. And
I got a trick for you there, Scott.
Uh-oh.
Add some copper.
Okay, can you do that post ferment?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I will add to it. This is something I did once or twice as a home brewer. I don't know if there's any other risk involved, but I would imagine with, copper kettles that you'd be okay. But I'd read old 90s and pre-90s homebrew advice of if a beer is sulfury, you throw in some pennies. And then a lot of stuff online, people are saying, well, that doesn't work. That's because pennies don't really contain copper anymore. So I had a piece of copper pipe and a beer that went very sulfury to the point where I was ready to dump it, and I stuck it I fermented inside of a keg, and I literally tipped the sanitized copper pipe into the wort for a few seconds, pulled it out, and it was like magic.
What?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I tried the bubbling CO2 through and, purging a lot and trying to let it out that way.
That's crazy.
But yeah, maybe I'll come back and I'll try that.
So Scott can't just rack the beer into that carboy full of copper pennies in the corner of his bedroom?
Pennies he found on the street? No. Yeah. A different kind of sour beer. But I've also seen some German brewers, and if there aren't German brewers listening and they want to correct me, I encourage it. I've seen their Zwickels are made out of copper in a lot of cases. Whereas
nickels?
Zwickel, the little pigtail off the fermenter to get a sample. A lot of the ones that we American brewers use are stainless steel, but I've seen a lot of German breweries and German brewers using copper, and especially with lagers. And a young lager will express a lot of sulfur, so I wonder if there isn't something there, or if I'm just reading into it too much. But I think copper might be magic.
Huh?
Okay,
that's crazy. What?
That sounds great.
Anyway.
You do.
Sorry, I derailed the conversation.
No, that's perfect.
And we're past the disaster.
Wow,
of that.
You do a podcast for 19 and a half years. You think you've heard everything, but that's nuts. That's crazy. I'd be very curious to see if that works. You'll have to report to us, Scott.
Yes.
Yeah.
Be all scientific about it, side by side.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, and if it works that instantly, you could send us a sample. We could do like a Mr. Wizard thing, and like do it, live on the show, live recorded on the show, and just have our ooh, this stinks, and then you swirl it around with your copper swizzle stick, and it's fixed.
Yeah,
I guess you could put it in one of those Moscow Mule. Is it Moscow Mules that you drink in the copper cups?
Yeah, but Is the inside exposed to copper, or they line it with something?
Oh, I don't know.
I've
I don't
seen a
know. You
lot
can
of
Google.
stainless ones on the inside,
It's
copper on the outside and stainless on the inside.
nothing's easy. Uh,
No. Well, do you
I
want to pour
I
some
need
of
a
those
beer.
beers? Yeah.
Which one should we start with?
Well, if you want to look at the one with the four on it, but not open it, because
The
that's the
four.
blend of the other two.
So these beers all have a theme, right? Because I haven't seen the labels yet. You actually went ahead and covered up the labels. I don't even know what the beer is called yet.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and Scott's background is the Millennium Falcon, and then is that that's an X-wing fighter with Star Wars on your shirt. So
Mm.
shall
right.
we invade? This is the number four. Number four. Uh,
Oh, oh no. Oh no.
oh no, hope. O-E-N-O, hope, and it's it's the classic thing with Luke Skywalker holding instead of a lightsaber aloft, he's got a bunch of grapes with Princess Leia there at his feet. I'll take a picture of these and put it on the socials, Instagram
That's great.
and Threads and the Blue Sky. Very well done. Explain the name for those who the oh no hope.
Yeah, it's hard to pronounce, but I think people say NO when they're
Uh,
talking about like enophile and NO
oh,
beers, the word for wine,
okay.
I believe in Latin. And then if you'll notice, it's in a Stella Artois glass, which everyone knows means Star Wars in another gen. Oh no, that's not that one. Sorry,
Oh,
wrong one.
spoiler.
Anyway, so if you want to open number five,
Number five. So
We're
I'm
starting with
the
five?
V.
yeah
Yes.
yeah I'm saving.
Okay.
I'm gonna give number four to Steve for him to drink during the disaster show.
Yeah, I'm
Which is
going out of order, like the person that made these movies.
I love it.
The Empire Strikes Blanc. Ah, that's great. It's it's got Darth Vader, and again, superimposed in front of his lightsaber is another bunch of grapes. We've got the walkers and the at-ats are the smaller ones, right?
The
Oh,
AT-ATs are the four-legged ones.
yeah, the
Oh,
big
okay,
ones.
okay. And then Adam, was it you that had a Star Wars joke? Did we say this, or was it Scott that had the Star Wars joke? Did we have
Oh,
that
I
on the
had the
show?
Star Wars joke.
Okay, Scott, tell us your Star Wars joke.
What is the average body temperature of a tauntaun?
That's right.
And what is?
Lukewarm.
Bah.
A joke stinks on the inside and the outside.
Yeah, so if you want to pour some of that one,
Oh,
the
okay.
Empire Strikes Blanc,
I was still
Ooh,
admiring
nice and fizzy.
the label.
that is the one with the London Ale. So that one ended up at, let's see, final pH of that was 3.46. The final gravity was 1014. So that came out to about 8.5%.
Ooh.
Ooh,
It
smells.
looks great.
Yeah, it smells sweet tarty. And I've got you. You warned us that one of these is really tart. So I've got my generic regular strength antacid tablets here in the booth with me.
Well, you adjusted acidity on this, you said, right? You brought it down with the acid addition?
For the mash, but then so post boil, I was at 5.1 pH. And then when I mixed the must in, the must was at about 3.04 pH. So when I mixed that together, the mix that I got was 3.84 pH going into the fermenter.
Yeah, this is the right level of sour for me. I'm not a big sour beer fan. This is tart. This is not an aggressive sour. You might even get away with not if you had to sell it, not even having to claim that it's a sour beer.
Oh, it's tart. I think it's really good. It's yeah, I like this level of tartness as well. It's about sweet tarts level tart, I think, maybe. which I've mentioned on the show before, and Adam had been eating sweet tarts like 5 minutes before the show.
Not today, not today. So maybe that's why I didn't think of it immediately.
I definitely do taste the grape. It does have a winey character to it, but it is also a beer. I think it's a good balance of those two, and there's substantial body as well.
Right. And there's I don't want to say tannic, but there's something on the nose that when I'm sniffing it, you almost start to salivate a little bit, like you can get with some wines and with some sours, or at least I do. But it doesn't smell like exactly smell like a sour beer.
There's a teeny bit of it tastes kind of like grape skins, I guess. Just on the end of it, and I get a little small amount of breadiness at some point.
Yeah, they shouldn't have sent a scientist to describe this. They should have sent a poet, right? Is that the wrong movie I'm quoting? No, I wish I knew more about wines because I feel like this would almost be better judged by, I don't know, maybe better judged by, it's so much in the wine world that I'm having a hard time describing it because I don't have those words to describe wines. I'm getting almost like a pineapple, almost muted with cantaloupe, though. I'm getting definitely some fruits, like some, not quite tropical, but maybe a little tropical, but mostly some melons.
It does taste a little Belgian-y, even though it's not a Belgian yeast. It does taste, in the Belgian-ish family.
Yeah, and as I was tasting these, I kept thinking I wish the Belgian had worked because I can really picture it with the triple. I can really picture the grape going well with it.
For sure.
Oh, green apple. That's what I'm getting a lot of.
Uh-oh.
Yeah?
Where's Steve?
Not as an off flavor. Not an acetaldehyde. It's
I get a little green apple. Callback.
Yeah, I think if I were to do this one again, I think I would either wait till later in the fermentation process and see, because these just went into the fermenter together. It fermented beer and wine together. For this experiment, I just wanted to start at the beginning. But I could see either lowering the amount, because it is very winey.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you could cut the amount or possibly add it later in the fermentation.
Well, I get a bit of green apple and maybe some pear, and I'm with you. It's not unpleasant. It doesn't taste like a defect.
No, this is a really nice beer. I don't have any complaints about this beer other than I feel like it would be tough to sell because it has 1 foot in wine and 1 foot in beer, and I don't know how many people are out there. And the reason I don't brew that beer anymore, in part, is I don't know how many people out there are, unsure or like both drinks or are unsure of which one they want to have in a given night. I mean, it just threads the needle between beer and wine.
There are very few cocktails that mix beer and wine. I'm assuming. There's a half a note, just a teeny tiny bit of astringency at the end of it that I describe as like a grape skin kind of a thing. But again, it's not off-putting. It's not like, my mouth is drying up. But that's just a tasting note. I think it's a success. And what's the ABV again?
About 8.5.
Ooh,
Final
okay.
gravity of 1.014.
So it finished fair. Oh, it finished higher than I would have expected.
Yeah, me too.
Should we do the number 6 on the lid?
That sounds perfect.
I can't wait. Here we go.
Nice.
We're taking the we're unveiling
I'll
the
let
label.
James read it, but well done.
Return of the sour guy.
Yeah. So one night I also got the idea. I made up names for the other 2 trilogies as well. So if you want to hear the terrible puns, we can do that. I don't know how long it would take me to get to those beers, but I have names.
We should save those for the for this for the shows with the beers. This is Pertnier Crystal Clear and a couple of shades darker. This looks like cider, like a filtered cider.
Is it darker? Or is it just because it's that much clearer? We're not getting the reflection of from the suspended yeast. They look pretty. I don't have them in side by side in a glass like you do, but
Well,
I think you might be right, Adam. I think
well,
they're
it
pretty
is
close, but it does look darker.
I mean,
I would
it
call
is,
this gold. This is like
yeah.
a 5.6 SRM, so not dark by any means.
This is not as aromatic as the first one.
Yeah, it's a little it's not as sharp in the aroma. It's more of a mellow, kind of musty almost.
And these have been out of the fridge for now about an hour. So I've learned my lesson. I've started to warm my, after 19 and a half years, I've started warming up the beers early.
Wow, that's tart, Scott.
Yep, that one ended at 2.89.
I do not have Tums ready, but I'm regretting that now.
Yeah. No, so it actually made me look. I found a document online
Woo.
that was for it was like for dentists for tooth enamel, and it had this whole list of common beverages. So I think Coca-Cola, I think, is like 2.5 or 2.6.
Really?
So Coke is super acidic. I forget what was similar to the 2.89. I think there was like a Gatorade flavor that was about that, and some of the fruit juices.
Wow. That's dark. But I like it.
It's not just tartness. There's still that tannin character there. A little bit of drying. I don't know if that's from the grapes or from fermentation.
Boy, it's not off-putting at all. I like it. I kind of like it. I don't know if I like it better than. I think I might like it better than the first one. I mean, it is way tart. What is it? What did it finish at?
The let's see, that was 1018, so about 8% ABV.
Wow. I would not have guessed it finished that high.
1018?
Yeah,
Wow. Not at all.
yeah,
No.
with the Philly sour.
This
Yeah.
is cider-like. I feel like I've had cider. This is almost more cider-like than wine or beer-like for me. Just maybe that's the acidity. Maybe it's the color and the clarity that were making me think cider. But
Because it's so tart, that's the overpowering thing that you taste. But there's stuff in the background that, it's not like drinking acid. I kind of really like it.
Yeah, I think it's really tasty. It's like a hard lemonade with additional flavors.
you said
Yeah.
this was a Philly that you fermented this one?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I get a little bit of that. I had a friend stop in at the brewery when I had that last beer that we tried with the Philly sour, and I was having a hard time describing, and then she said white peach to me, and
Huh.
Oh wow.
I think that's a signature because maybe I'm talking myself into it, but I can get a little white peach on the nose here.
So is it that tart because of the Philly sour and the grape must? I mean, the combination of the two.
I guess so, because I mean the grape must, started it, helped to get it to about 3.8 at the beginning of fermentation, so it was already below 4. And then yeah, I don't know if the Philly sour just loved making lactic acid out of the wine ingredients,
Wow.
but it was a long time. It was that didn't finish until October 21st, so that was 16 days.
Oh, that's really sour.
Scott, I'm gonna have to say, just like the movies, I think I like Empire better than Jedi here.
Okay, so now take the two of those and make yourself a 50-50 blend.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that's what was in the NO Hope bottle was
The,
a blend. But
the number
I
4.
figure you don't have to open that one. Also, you can make your own blend.
I'm gonna open the NO because I'm pretty sure my wife's gonna get off work here soon, and I'm gonna hand her these beers. So
Okay.
she'll help me finish it off. I haven't
I
opened the
know.
end yet. The Jedi, I was just finishing it off. That is too tart for me.
Yeah, I get to about, I think I finished about a half of a bottle in one sitting and stopped at that point. But I've had people tell me that they loved it and they drank the whole thing and they wouldn't even let their husband taste it. So,
Huh? Okay, I'm tasting the blend. It's interesting because the tannic grape skin character has come back into the equation. It's more tart than the original, obviously.
Yeah, this smells like a Belgian sour, like some kind of
Mm.
dusty but still good bottle you find of you don't know exactly what the style is, but it's something sour. Because I get malt presence, but I also get a little bit of fruit, and I can tell that this is probably going to taste sour once I get in there.
Yeah, I predict this is going to blow Steve's doors off as far as as far as sourness is concerned. I don't know. It'd be interesting to. I'm not going to prejudice him either way, but I predict this will be too sour for him. The blend.
Yeah, I'm still leaning towards Empire being my favorite, but this is certainly more
Mm.
palatable than Return of the Sour Guy.
More grape flavor coming back in, like a white grape or a green grape, not not the mellower red or darker grape.
Yeah, this smells and tastes like a soda. Like I don't know what kind of soda, like maybe if there's a grape soda out there. No, grape sodas are way grapier. This is, I don't know, this is almost like the those Mexican sodas, the Jarritos. I don't know if they make a grape flavor, but I feel like it would land around this acidity and this
Hmm.
intensity.
I like that, but I don't know that I like it better than the two isolated. You know what I'm saying? I think it's if you had just given me this, I think I'd be happy. But I think I like the components better than the blend.
I no, I'd agree with you there. It's the most complex of the three because of that, because some of the really bold flavors are balanced out here. But also I don't know, like Return of the Sour Guy, it's for the that person who really wants the high citric acid sour candies, and then Empire is probably more the wine drinker. I don't know. I don't consider myself a wine drinker, but I'm liking it more.
So what are your learnings, Scott? This is surprising to me at how tart these came out. What are your learnings?
I think you can definitely dial back the amount of grape must if you're doing a grape ale. I think you could cut that in half and do maybe 15% or less and see where you end up. Because to me, it's very winey.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of wine influence, and I would just like it to be a little more beery. And then I think I don't know if you've got a risk of making sulfur, you might not want to be under pressure.
Oh.
Even though I didn't put a lot of pressure on it, it was just enough. It was like 1 or 2 psi. But that might just be holding the sulfur in there.
Are you blaming
Oh.
under pressure for the sulfur content, Scott?
No,
Are you blaming what, Adam?
Fermenting under pressure.
yeah. No, just a thought of like, if you're thinking about when might you not want to ferment under pressure, and I don't know.
I don't want to get into this right now, Scott, but I don't think that's a concern. I don't think
Okay.
increased sulfur production is a concern of fermenting under pressure. There you go. Almost
Gotcha.
Cheers.
Yeah, no, I was more thinking about, you're locking it in with the beer
Yeah, no, I think
instead of letting it out. No.
I think there's more science to it than that I can't speak to either. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. I'm going to say let whoever wants to ferment under pressure with these do it. Almost got one by
Excellent.
James.
Y'all don't fight.
Click on the button there.
Yeah.
I've added a new sound effect and I forgot to use it. I've added the Wilhelm scream, which
That
makes
should have been after we tasted Return of the Sour Guy.
I know. So we got other beers. Would these be called bonus beers, Scott?
Well, let's grab the one with the R on it because that's part of this series too.
We got another fun label.
And this was last minute, so I put a little bit less thought into the name. But
Okay, the R says the Rogue One. Yeah, okay.
Seriously though, like the second best Star Wars movie ever, right?
I really liked that one too. I thought that was really good. What do you think is the best?
Empire. It's always going to be Empire.
Oh yeah, well, definitely. Yeah.
Huh.
I forgot.
I like the original.
So this should be my second favorite beer, Scott, since I think we're on the same wavelength there.
What are we having here? The R beer.
Well, this is I took from my lambic Solera, my attempt at lambic style. That some of it is a small portion might be like 5 years old at this point.
Woo.
So the Solera has been going. So I put in, I think you're a little bit less than like 20% is the flambic, and then mixed with the London Ale, the Empire.
Oh, interesting.
So, and this is my favorite.
Oh, wow.
Wow, it's got a I don't know what color that is. It's got almost a reddish tint, or is that just me again?
Well, it's
Probably like dark gold, and my weird LEDs on my microphone are causing it to look red.
you have a new disco mic.
Right.
It's the most aromatic of all the ones that we've had. So
Yeah, it
far.
smells like a lambic, for whatever that means. Red apple.
Oh, wow. That's definitely the most complex tasting.
Yeah, it's bright though. It's much I don't know. It's thin sounds like the wrong term here, but it's so much more livelier, brighter, maybe thinner. It makes it seem a little thinner, drier than the sour guy.
I'm getting more deep, darker fruit notes. This isn't all on the in the tweeter. We got the mid range and the woofer coming in.
Yeah, I could say plum is in there. So you get like
Mm-hmm.
the stone fruits are showing up, but I do get red apple and then yeah, plum for sure.
Yeah, I think you nailed it with plum. Oh, that's my favorite so far. I get a little bit of the of persimmon.
I don't know if I know what a persimmon tastes like or smells like.
That's real good.
I think it's my second favorite, Scott, just like I predicted. And I'm not just that's not a bias towards your labels and the movies that they represent. I honestly I'll have to return to Empire here and see if I keep my score, but this was a close second for me.
I think it brings it back into the beer world for me.
For sure.
It does. This is a legit lambic. Like this would fit in with anything from Cantillon.
You would think that there was fruit in here. There's no fruit in here, right?
Just the grapes.
Oh yeah.
That counts, right? Grapes are fruit.
Hello.
I think James needs another beer.
Okay, that's my favorite. But we have one more. Don't answer yet. We have a beer with no label.
Oh, is that with the S on the top?
That just has S on the top.
Are we doing this?
Should we?
That's up to you guys.
I could save it.
No, we don't know what tomorrow holds. We should enjoy it while we can. I'm not one to sit on beers and wait.
Gotcha. So that one is a saison that I brewed with. That was Fermentis BE. I think it's 134.
Oh, I guessed wrong.
So that's BE 134 is the yeast on that one, and I did dry hop of Amarillo and Mandarina Bavaria.
Hello.
Beautiful looking saison. Like I know saisons can get dark, but this is like straw, hazy, really nice tight head on it.
Cheers, guys, by the way.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That smells lovely.
And there is, I've used rye malt in there also, 22%, and also 22% of honey. So it's Pilsner, rye malt, and honey. And then what do we got?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Help
about
me
an
figure
ounce
out.
and a half.
Clove?
Yeah. Yeah, what is that on the nose? For my brain, and this is going to sound crazy, but I've learned to not discount those crazy thoughts when you're smelling something. I got Tootsie Roll immediately. Not like this is a Tootsie Roll, but for some reason that was the thought that went into my head, and I wonder if there isn't
Hmm.
something just to the maybe it's the sweetness in a Tootsie Roll, maybe it's definitely doesn't smell like a chocolate beer.
There are flavored Tootsie Rolls.
Yeah, but I don't think I'm thinking of the fruities. Thinking of the maybe it's just the amount of sweetness.
I don't know, but it does smell fruity.
Yeah, it's not nothing in the flavor. I don't know what that was, huh? Maybe
There's,
I'm having some kind of medical episode right
you
now.
don't smell toast.
Right?
Maybe the new microphone where
It
you're
could
eating
be.
Tootsie Rolls when
Tootsie
you
Rolls
open that
like
up.
It's those disco colors coming off your new mic. Wow, this is fun as well.
yeah, it's got that rustic character that no one can really define.
Yeah.
There's a teeny bit of Brett-ish character in the middle of the sip. At the end of the sip, there's clove comes in, and then as it lingers, there's a little bit of anise or licorice. Maybe that's where you're getting the
Yeah, maybe.
Tootsie Roll.
That
Oh,
could, I think you're right, James.
Yay! Write that
With
down.
it, your sniffer.
yeah. I'm enjoying it as the I forget what Adam called it, but the unnameable saison kind of little bit of funk flavor. I'm enjoying it as that dissipates a little bit. It seems to go away.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say Brett, and only because Austin and I have been drinking a lot of our Brett Stout that got really bready.
Mm.
Um, but this has that. This is closer to what I consider like a barnyard aroma rather than Brett, and that's a good thing. This is like dried hay. You're outside. It's an earthiness in a really good way. Um, I don't know. I still don't know what a horse blanket smells like, and I've been around horses, so I'm not going to use that phrase. But
Well, I when I think of Brett, I think of Orval, an aged Orval, and I'm getting a lot of that in this. In that, and I can't describe it other than horse blank. All the code words that we use when we taste a beer that tastes like Brettanomyces. That if we were to lick a horse blanket, would it taste like that? No, probably not. But it's that character. It's that kind of sort of fruity, sort of earthy, sort of. There's something in the middle. It's in the middle. It's that mid-range flavor that I associate with Brettanomyces. Like when I'm drinking, like if you have a fresh Orval, it tastes like a pale ale. In my experience, but if you taste one that's been around for a while, it's like, oh boy, you get all these fruity, barnyardy, whatever you call it, flavors, and I'm getting that in this. This is kind of Orvalish.
I'm jealous of your seemingly easy access to Orval because I don't know if I've ever had a fresh Orval. I would say
It's been years since I've had an Orval.
I have one in my fridge because I'll buy them whenever I see them.
right.
But I
Maybe
have to look at the date on it because I have no idea. Could be 2 years old now.
let me float these words by you. It's a little cereal grain with beets,
Mm.
Huh. Mm. What kind of beets?
sugar beets.
Baked, roasted. No, I mean,
sliced and grilled and added to a salad.
I mean, if you pickle a beet, it tastes a certain way. If you roast it,
I thought you were making a baked beans joke. That's why I started laughing.
give me time.
No, I'm looking over at my this is the kind of beer nerd I am. Outside of the camera, I've got a beer flavor map that I picked up at a brewers conference. And if I can't find the word, I look. And under earthy, because this is definitely earthy, we've got musty, soil, barnyard, marsh, mushroom, and beet.
Well, I think, and it may be because we're spending so much time talking about it, but I think this may be my favorite beer of the tasting, because it's just, there's so much going on and it's so fun to talk about. You're just like, debating back and forth of what is that? It's just like not knocking yourself in the head with anything. It's just like, it's so complex and there's so much going on. And it's like, is that circus peanuts? I don't know. That's, like wax lips from 1983. It's like, there's a ton going on. I like this one quite a bit.
That was before I was born, James.
Oh,
God. He's got to get it in there.
Yeah. But I'm going back to Empire because I want to say Empire is still my favorite. But yeah, I think I agree with you, James. Any beer that gets people talking about the beer is I think is always pretty cool. I mean, there's always those beers where you don't want to talk about it. You just want to sit down and drink a beer. But that's a really good one. And Scott, I'd be proud of that. That fits in with any of the textbook Belgian sours and saisons out there.
I'm getting lime now. It's about room temperature now. I'm getting a little bit of lime. I was going to say lemon, but it's darker than a lemon. I get a little bit of lime.
I also included it so if you wanted to blend a little bit of any of the wine beers in with it, you could kind of get an idea of where a saison would go.
Oh, it's
if you decided to
right now, Scott.
What's that?
Blending in my belly right now.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Just burp and you can have a little sample.
I'm hitting the mute every time. Don't worry.
Oh,
I just returned to Empire because that was of the original trilogy of your beers. That was my favorite, and I might like the saison a little bit better. They're neck and neck. If we're ranking, and I feel like that's the thing that could be done here. My favorite's Empire, and then it's a toss up between Rogue and the saison, and then we're No Hope, and then the sour guy just didn't do it for me. That's just too sour, and I didn't care for the Ewoks that showed up halfway through the bottle.
Oh
either.
yeah, I was going to name the Belgian that's full of sulfur, the Christmas Star Wars special.
Yes,
because that is nobody should really be dealing with that at all.
James will probably have to cut this out, but I'm doing my 10th. I think it's our 10th annual Life Day on Friday, where friends of mine and we age really hard to find beers and we store them, and then every year we watch the entire holiday special while drinking these beers. And we've done stuff like a 10-year Bigfoot vertical tasting during it. We've had a 22-year-old beer. It's like we save the best beers for the worst possible thing that you can watch. We sit there and we watch it. So we're doing it again here in a couple of days. So this is very
why would
apropos.
I cut that? Why would I cut that out?
I don't know, because I already made a comment earlier about brewers being self-destructive, and now I'm talking about watching a holiday special for this. I don't think anyone else out there in the world has watched it 10 times.
Oh, okay. If you've listened this far in this episode, you're a true fan, and I salute you. Cheers, everybody. I hope that you can find some beers as delicious as these, and I Scott, you've been our sort of sponsor of the disaster show for the past, I don't know how many years, and one of your beers is going to be featured in the show as Steve drinks your the blend, the oh no hope, I don't know, but You're an extremely talented brewer, and we're very lucky to have these beers. And I think Adam, you can concur, right?
Yeah, absolutely. These are, and I'm not just trying to be polite here. I've had many very good Belgian beers. I've had quite a few Cantillons. This fits right into those beers. They'd be right at home with any of them. So good job. Definitely keep it up and keep sending them to me.
Well, thanks. If I can quote a 80s anti-drug commercial, I learned it by watching you.
This is your brain on Basic Brewing Radio. We won't get another chance to talk before the new year. So happy holidays to you guys. I can't tell you how grateful I am that y'all have become a part of this thing, and you're part of the reason that this thing keeps going. And very, very, very grateful, and I hope that you guys have a healthy and prosperous 2025.
Likewise, thank you.
Same to you, James.
Many thanks to Scott and to Adam. Scott continues to impress us with his skill and creativity. And, Adam's no slouch either. If you have brewing questions, show suggestions, or just want to say howdy, write to james@basicbrewing.com or just fill out the contact form on basicbrewing.com. And please don't forget to tell us where you're from. Check out our mobile-friendly shop at basicbrewingshop.com. Thanks to everybody supporting us through our Patreon page. Special goodies coming your way. Check that out at patreon.com/basicbrewing. So until next time, till then, thanks for listening, everybody. I'm James Spencer. Production help for Basic Brewing Radio and our website is provided by Kelly Dodson. Basic Brewing Radio is a production of Active Voicing. We'll talk to you next time, everybody. In the meantime, stay well and stay tuned. So long.